A new generation of trainers stands at the foot of a mountain. Up at the peak sits the thrones of 4 kings. 2 thrones sit empty, and at their feet is a wave of veteran trainers aiming for greater heights. Who will come out on top? Find out now on The Weekly Remark! Hello everybody, you're listening to The Weekly Remark. It is I, your host. Dozer has returned from the realm of being sick. My voice still might sound a little weird because of sinuses and allergies and winter, and boy, isn't it great. We went up from 30 below to 40 degrees to 20 below, and I'm exaggerating on how cold it is, but that's just how cold it feels. Needless to say, North Dakota weather sucks, but what does not suck is the Starcade we've got going on right here, right now. And let's just take a look at how beautiful this thing is. First off, we have, well, we're not really going to talk about Starcade here, but we're just going to talk about some announcements of what we've got going on this week. So yeah, let's just jump right into that. Starting off, Platoon Wars. The wars to determine the top 2 teams has concluded. Congratulations to Platuno and Nato and the Heart Breckers, who will be facing off this week to name the 3 ranked contenders to the World Championship, as well as the number 1 contender to the IC title. Additionally, Nato and the Heart Breckers will keep their platoon tag as a commemoration of their overall first place finish, finishing over longtime favorite to win, Platuno. However, all group chats will still dissolve at the end of the cycle. Heart Breckers versus Platuno. So as promised, the top 3 trainers from each team will face off for the number 1, 2, 3 contender rights to the world title, and in addition, the 4th place finishers, Fire Gem and Heart Huang, will have a rematch, and the winner will be named the number 1 contender to the Intercontinental Championships. Good luck to all of you! And also, we have a new king candidate. So we've got the Arc Kings of 2018 being ready to be crowned. We're just doing the final touches, seeing how Starcade plays out, and we'll do it. My little council of brain trustees and I will look at everything we've got together and determine who this year's kings are. But in a push at the end of the cycle, Breckerr has earned himself a place in the running as he becomes a king candidate. Largely due to his big performance in Platoon Wars, he and the rest of the Heart Breckers proved that with enough drive you can overcome anything, even a bad start to a competition like this. Nato were already king candidates, making the top 3 scorers of Nato and the Heart Breckers all candidates. We've got the Intercontinental Championship match coming up finally. Max cashed in for an IC title shot 5 weeks ago, but he was on the same platoon with the champ Yui, and they were not allowed to battle each other. Max's chance has now arrived. The champ coming into this match is on a 3-game losing streak. Not to be outdone, Max is coming in with a 5-game losing streak. This will be the first ever meeting between these two, and someone will finally get a win, but more importantly, walk away as the IC champion. And prize fights, the tradition continues. Any trainer not involved in a title or contender match will be in a prize fight. The winner of the battle will receive a drawing from the Hidden Power Grab Bag, which has the following drop rates: a 55% chance to pull a plus power, 25% chance to pull a change of venue, 15% chance for a stance change, 4% chance for an IC title shot, and a 1% chance for the elusive world title shot. Speaking of a world title shot, we have a world championship match this week, as it is Starcade. What more can be said about this rivalry? Abrandt is challenging Venge for the world championship. This will be their 6th battle for the title, with Venge winning the last 4. This will be the 3rd time Venge defends against Abrandt. If Abrandt fails to reclaim the championship, we may need to take a break on this rivalry for a while and let others take their shot. Venge is chasing his 10th straight title defense, continuing to pad his record. Does Abrandt have it in him to beat Venge one more time? Will Venge drive Abrandt into retirement? Will Dozer always continue to roll the R's when he says Abrandt? Stay tuned. This week's imprisoned target is the new king candidate Breckerr, who finished the 6-week run of Platoon Wars as the MVP, scoring 12.08 points total, and managed to reach Ace Trainer by Starcade. You can find Breckerr in the game corner, but also be ready and willing to battle in dark matches. The imprisoned race is close with Abrandt and Hashok at 25 and 23 points respectively, but in third is Breckerr, and he has a lot of opportunity to gain points by defending this week, and it's a double-decker. It's a double-decker, a double-brecker. For it is one arc week lasting over 2 actual weeks. So that's a thing. Yeah. Hierarchy status. Breckerr moved up to Ace Trainer. Yui moved down to Rising Star. And Hartwang, Shadow, and Yo Pierre all moved down to Youngster. The Dark Arena is singles Average Mons. Average Mons is a metagame that aims to level the playing field. Every Pokemon is given exactly the same base stat spread, bringing the lowest Little Cup loser to the level of the mightiest Ubers. Average Mons is a metagame where Skrelp and Zigzagoon can go toe-to-toe with Kyogre and Arceus. Bring some Pokemon you might never expect to the top. Now let's move on to this week's Battle Breakdown. Looking at the matches, we're going to start off with the Show Me Your Powers used for 7-6. We have Venge versus Hashok. A few hidden powers used here. Venge cashed in a plus power per usual. Hashok pulled in a change of venues, changing the match from battle spot doubles to singles UU. Venge attempted to change a venue, but Hashok owned the tiebreaker. Sments versus Breckerr, we saw a plus power come out from Sments and a change of venue come out from Breckerr, changing the match from singles Ubers to singles OU. Then we have Maxi Boy, who used a change of venue versus Choose, switching the max from doubles battle spot to singles Little Cup. Then we have Abrandt, who used a plus power versus Yui, and a change of venue, changing that match from doubles OU to singles NU. And then we have Sage of Mugen, who's a change of venues versus not to move a match from Little Cup to NU. Dan used a plus power versus Yours Truly, and Otto used a plus power versus Marble. As for last week's battles, we're going to take a look at these. Cyricos beat Yo Pierre in a VGC Sun match. Choose beat Max in that Little Cup match that Max decided to change a venue to. Fire Gem beat Heart in PU. Reggie beat A. Kelly in singles UU. Yours truly, the one, the only, Dozer Zagashi, beat Dan the Gaming Man in a VGC Sun match. That was a fun match, Dan, by the way. I enjoyed it. We have Na beating Mugen in NU, despite Mugen's change of venue. We have Breckerr taking advantage of his change of venue against Sments to beat Sments in OU. We have Otto beating Marble in Little Cup. We have Abrandt beating Yui. And then we have Venge beating Hashok, despite the change of venue disadvantage. Looking at the hierarchy we've got going into the next week, it's pretty set in stone how the top 5's gonna rank out for the most part. Because we have Venge in here with a 12-1 record and 30.65 points versus Abrandt with a 9-4 record and 25.21 points. I don't think a loss on Venge's side or a win on Abrandt's side will close a 5-point gap. Keep in mind, I'm not doing the math. I do know Abrandt they can each only get 1 bonus point out of this because it is a title match. So yeah. Then number 3, we have Otto with an 8-4 record and 16.92 points. Following him up, we have Breckerr with a 5-3 record and 13 points. And then we have Sments rounding out the top 5 with a 6-7 record and 12.62 points. As for the big rise and falls we have going on, Yours truly, Dozer Zagashi, jumped up 5 points in the placings. Breckerr went up 4. Fire Gem went up 3. And poor Dan fell down 5. And Platoon Wars. The last time we'll get to talk about Platoon Wars and look at these stats. And it's all Nato and the Heart Breckerrs here. Because not only did Nato... So here's the thing. Nato and the Heart Breckers were in the bottom 2 places of the standings for the first couple of weeks. Okay? Because the big race looked like it was going to be between Platuno, Despacito 2, and House Habsburg. But what happens? Platuno, who everyone thought was going to come out of this number 1 after Spence, scored 4 bonus points against Venge. What happens? Nato and the Heart Breckers, the platoon with the best name, pulls out the best work and comes away with this with a whopping 26.02 points with an 11-6 record, beating Platuno, the favored to win, with who only had 18.5 points. Despacito 2, a potential follower-up, rounds this out with a 13.33 record. House Habsburg has a solid 9 record with a 9.9 win-loss rate. Pretty, standard for how Habsburg was going this cycle. And the bad boys, staying true to this name, are indeed bad, with a 5.12 record and 5.98 points. Platuno, by the way, also had a 9.9 record. I don't think I mentioned that. Despacito 2 had a 7.6 record. Let's take a look, we're going to go from the bottom up, look at each platoon's individual points. So we're going to start off with the bad boys, who their star point earner earning 3 points was A. Kelly, who walks away out of Platoon Wars with a 3.3 record. After that, as we talked about, Max, the second point earner, had a huge losing streak with a 1.5 record, 5-game losing streak. Following up, Yui, who we also talked about earlier, who had another losing streak ongoing throughout all of Platoon Wars and has a 1.4 record. And those were the 3-point earners for the bad boys, and it was not that good. A. Kelly coming out with an average 3.3. That's pretty respectable. The 1.5 from Max and the 1.4 from Yui, though, really questionable. Really unfortunate, if nothing else. Then we had our fourth place team, which was the House Habsburg, who started out strong and consistent across all of their ranks, but they never really did much to take advantage of their potential bonus points that they wanted to earn, and so it winds up out of their 3-point earners, all earning 3 points apiece with a 3.3 record. So, if nothing else, House Habsburg is the most uniform of the platoons. All of them have a 3.3 record, 50% win rate, and 3 points. There is no variation amongst those 3-point earners. So yeah, that's cool. Then our middle ground team, Despacito 2, my favorite platoon because it is my platoon, ends up with yours truly being the large point earner in that platoon. I earned 9 points with a 3.0 record throughout Platoon Wars. Unfortunately, being sick made me go inactive a couple of weeks. So if I would have been able to stick around and keep that win streak going, maybe Despacito 2 wouldn't have wound up kind of dropping down. Despacito 2, though, being the average group, also had probably the least active members, because Dart also went inactive, coming away with 2.2 record. So Dart did one more match than I did. But 4 out of the 6 weeks, I was around 3 out of the 6 weeks, not looking good. The only one of us who stuck around all 6 weeks was Syracuse, who walks away with a 2.4 record, bringing, Despacito 2. So Cy contributing 1.33 points, Dart contributing 3 points, and me being the number 2 points earner in Platoon Wars, contributing 9 points. Now let's take a look at Platuno, the platoon that everyone thought was just going to run away with this after the first week or so. We all were expecting Sments to be the number 1 point earner here, but really it's Hashok with a 4.2 record and 7.58 points. Sments is the number 2 point earner on Platuno, but not for winning, only for that one match with Venge where he brought in about 4 bonus points, I want to say, and he only has 6.41 points to his name with a 2.4 record. He's only hanging in there with bonus points, and that is largely probably the only reason, well, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons that Platuno was able to come in over Despacito 2. And then we have Reggie, who comes in with 4.5 points with a 3.3 win-loss record. So, Platuno kind of fell apart during the Platoon Wars. They had a really strong start. They were looking super dominant, and then it just kind of collapsed. Hashok did great with the 4-2 record. A 4-2 record out of people who battled all 6 weeks is the best record that we see across the board. Outside of that, I think there's a 3-2 record. There's a couple 4-2 records, there's a couple 3-2 records, and then there's like a 3-0 record, and those are like the best records that we see out of Platoon Wars. So it's a pretty uniform score. But the big platoon, the big story is Nato and the Heart Breckers, with Breckerr with that 4-2 record bringing in 12.08 points. A lot of bonus points underneath that belt. Excuse me. Trying not to die over here. Breckerr has 6.75 bonus points. The most bonus points of anyone, with Sments coming behind that with 5.08 bonus points. So yeah, by the way, 5.08 bonus points on Sments, 6.41 total points. Well, isn't that fun? And behind that, if we're looking at bonus points across everyone across the board, next is Otto with the 4.25, and everything else is like 3 and under. So yeah, Breckerr put in work here. Otto also put in work, being pretty high on the points leaderboard with 7.85 points and a 3-2 record with 4.25 bonus points, I want to say. Yep, 4.25 bonus points. Otto, the number 3 points leader overall. I'm slipping between too many tabs here. And then we have Naw rounding things out. Naw with 6.08 points. Less bonus points, but a really strong 4-2 record. Really impressive matches overall. Naw's been impressing, people ever since the upsets in the game corner and all that fun stuff. So that's how Platoon Wars shaped out. Not on the Heart Breckerr is just crushing the competition. Great job to them. And the contender matches between Nato and the Heart Breckers and Platuno are promising to be very interesting as we move on through the rest of Starcade. Taking a look at the dark matches, the dark leaderboards, though, Venge is, of course, up on top with a massive 34-12 win-loss record and 50.26 points. Abrandt following that up with a 32-16 record, 42.67 points, followed by Otto with a much, much, much less impressive 13-6 record and 17.79 points. Breckerr following that up with a 14-15 record and 13.52 points, and then Dozer Zagashi, yours truly, with an 11-13 record and 10.08 points. So yeah, looking at the game corner that we had last week, Breckerr, Reggie, Abrandt, and Shoes all got a perfect week, while the Chimp didn't even get a single point. Evil got close to a perfect record, only missing his 2-point pick. Breckerr, Reggie, Abrandt, Shoes, and Evo made it to the top of this week's placements. Evo, Mugen, and Breckerr find themselves in the top 3 of the GC leaderboards, Evo leading by only 1 point. Venge had 4 5-point picks for the most picked 5-pointer. Venge was also the most picked 4-point pick at 2, together with Yui, Sments, and Otto. The 3 and 2-point picks had a very even spread per usual. Normally I would say you can find out more about the game corner on this week's episode of Arconomy, but that's not gonna happen. If there's notes and they're thrown at me, I might record it tomorrow. I'll need to talk to our note master, Mugen. By the way, shoutouts to Mugen for taking over working on notes. He did the notes for this episode of Weekly Remark. He's been working on notes for other shows that haven't been coming out. So he's been doing more work than's been credited, and I just want to make sure that his work, to let him know his work is appreciated. He's doing good stuff. I also want to thank him for filling in for me while I was sick. Moving on to the IV breakdown. Max, you have too many IVs, spend them. I'm not even going to give you a number. Yui, you have too many IVs, spend them. I'm not even going to give you a number at number 2. Choose, you have too many IVs, spend them. I'm not going to give you another number. Evo, you have too many IVs, but I'm going to give you the number of 148 because it is under 150. Abrandt, you have a lot of IVs, but maybe not too many because you spend them all the time. You've got 136 IVs in your bank right now, though. Moving on to the record watch. Most spoiler points in a block, the record was 85, set by Nato. Na was able to nab 10 spoiler points last week and is now incredibly close to breaking the record. Na faces off against Reggie Nanos in doubles UU, a specialty of no one. This could mean the people picking against Na and allowing the opportunity for record-breaking performances. And I'd say in that matchup, Reggie is probably the favorite pick because his old specialty used to be doubles UU, either a cycle or 2 cycles ago. So keep that in mind. Feed that record to Na, please. Most IVs earned in you've already put your picks in, and I'm not going to go and check. I'm so used to recording these before picks are due. But yeah, most IVs earned in a block. This record is open. Evo has 37 IVs, only 3 ahead of Mugen in second, and these are Game Corner IVs, which is not a very comfortable lead. A 4+ IV difference is a common occurrence in the Game Corner, which, while unlikely, Abrandt, Breckerr, and Shoes have an outside chance to take the lead as they have 30 IVs, tied for third. Does Evo have it in him to lay claim on this record again after his previous record was given legacy status? Time will tell. Most incorrect picks in a block, a record of 13 set by Evo. Otto and Smens can finally relieve Otto of this terrible record as they have 11 wrong picks this block. Dozer, Venge, Choose. All of us have 9 incorrect picks, so they could at least tie Evo. The odds that either Otto or Smens get 3 or 4 wrong isn't so high, but Evo still hopes it happens. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get around to putting in a Game Corner this week, so I'm going to stick with my 9 incorrect picks. But next block Evo, I'm going to go for this most incorrect picks record. I'm telling you, I'm letting you know, this is going to be a Dozer record by the end of next block of next cycle. So yeah, that's a while away. But moving on to the dark records, we have most battles in a cycle. The record was 29, set by yours truly. Abrandt has a 2-match lead over Venge at the end of last week. Let's remember that Dark Arena and match restrictions reset in week 2 of Starcade, so these guys can find a way to fit even more battles in. It'll be close no matter what, and the record will be over 50 battles, close to doubling the old record. About time, by the way. This was such a low bar to clear, I'm surprised it took so long. Most dark IVs in a cycle, the old record was 79, set by Abrandt. Dark matches for week 1 of Starcade have already taken place due to the IV cap per week. Even with week 2 of dark matches, Venge cannot catch Abrandt. The record will be set between 153 to 166 IVs earned through dark matches this cycle. This record will live on forever as the IV payout will change next cycle, which will make this record near impossible to catch, so it'll become a legacy record. A new race can start again in Cycle 8. The most points in a cycle, 26.7 set by Abrandt. It will take quite a bit of bad luck for Venge to not set this record, but a losing streak can happen and Abrandt can pull ahead. One of these 2 titans in the Dark Arena will claim the record, most likely in the 50 points range. Longest losing streak. The record was 11 set by Smens. Smens ended up losing 2 more times in week 7 to 6, extending the streak to 13. Then Starcade week started and he lost another 2 times before finally claiming a win. Smens has broken his own losing streak record, now settled at 15 games in a row. I might come for that record too. Moving on to league records, we have the big boy records now. IVs spent in a cycle, 84 previously set by Abrandt. Abrandt pulled away, leaving second place, 45 IVs behind. Abrandt has spent 240 IVs thus far. How many more can he fit in this week to finalize the record once and for all? I got sick, so I couldn't keep up the IV spending. Next time, Abrandt, I'll beat you. Maybe. Probably not. Probably not. Most points in a cycle, 26.5, previously set by Venge. Venge's win last week has guaranteed that he will set a new record this cycle. At worst, Venge will end the cycle 12-2 with 29.07 points, narrowly edging out Abrandt's best possible outcome of 28.79. That's what I thought. Winning, though, will result in 33.64 points on the hierarchy for Venge, extending his previous record yet again. Most bonus points in a cycle, the previous record was 5.5, set by yours truly. Abrandt will officially finish this cycle with the record as no one can catch him or even come that close. Best case scenario, Abrandt finishes with 14.5 bonus points, but if he comes up short against Venge, then the record will set at 12.75. Most points in singles ladder, another close race, but another race Venge can no longer lose. Abrandt gave Venge a run for his money, but that one doubles battle that Abrandt had took away from his bonus point distribution, which would have been enough to take the record. In the end, Venge will set a new singles ladder record with 29.07 or 33.64 points. Most consecutive world title defense. We've talked about this earlier. Venge is 1 win away from 10 consecutive world title defenses. It just needs to be spoken because it's a milestone. Assuming he ever loses the belt, this will probably be the hardest record to ever match or break. The World Championship reigns. The old record was 2, set by Cutie-Fly. If Abrandt can defeat Venge, he can join Cutie-Fly in becoming a 2-time world champion. Venge's streak and records are impressive, but we cannot forget that Abrandt is the only trainer to have defeated Venge more than once, and he did that in a best-of-3 Ubers battle. Most consecutive IC title defenses. The record is 2, set by Sments. Yui is coming into this defense on a losing streak, but the game that matters most is the title match. Win this matchup and tie the record with 2 championship retentions. That is what we're looking at for this week's Starcade stuff. A lot of records on the line. A lot of records already guaranteed to be broken. Records are being broken by huge amounts. Some records being nearly doubled. It's just insane what's going on here. And this has been a long episode of the Weekly Remark. There was a lot of content to pack in. We will do one reviewing the fallout of Starcade sometime, hopefully in early December. That'll have several members, well, a few members of the Weekly Remark team. They're talking and sharing. It'll be kind of more of a looser note episode, kind of more fly by the seat of our pants. We'll go down the main points. We'll share some thoughts, and that'll be kind of one of our Christmas specials, you could say. There's also going to be the Royal Court episode. That'll be taking place closer to the actual holidays, around New Year. Those will be announced then. We have a lot to get ready for that. So that'll be more towards the end of December, maybe even after Christmas. So we've got 2 episodes. December is always a quiet month for Remark. We maybe put out 1 or 2 episodes for that month. And we'll be on Thanksgiving break through this weekend up till probably the end of November is when the next episode of Weekly Remark will come out. So yeah, there'll just be that 1 Royal Court in December. Probably. It might be later. It depends on schedules. We have school and stuff and finals going on for a lot of us. So that kind of messes up the schedule. If I can get Mugen to do some Arconomy notes, I'll record that tomorrow. Until then, I've been Dozer. Good to be back on the mic. And I'll catch you all next time. Good luck on your battles.